everybody? I'm back. Man, I don't know why I went with the Baldy from Baldy's Basics voice impression there, but that's how I'm starting this video. What is up, everybody? Happy post-Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a wonderful and safe holiday. I definitely filled up. I'm still bloated from last week. Whew. I apologize for not posting a video recapping week 11, but well, considering how nuts my job is working in retail, and for anyone who is ever or currently still working in retail, you know it sucks. The holidays and retail just don't mix because you get sick of the holidays real fast because for whatever godly reason, people always have to wait to the last minute to get what they need, and oh, surprise, surprise. Sometimes the stores just don't have it because they run out because you're not the only one who needs this shit, but other people are smart enough to shop before you, stupid. I mean, my God, why do people lose their fucking shit when the holidays come around? Aren't the holidays supposed to be relaxing? Aren't they supposed to be fun? Once upon a time they were, but damn. Depending on your career field, they either are still enjoyable or they're just an absolute pain in the ass. And in my line of work, they're an absolute pain in the fucking ass. However, though, I guess you could also say trying to cover the NFL and predict the NFL for the rest of this year is also a big pain in the ass because, Jesus Christ, there's like really no team that kind of stands out as the dominant team this year. And I guess that's a good thing. The field is pretty wide open. So, yeah, to recap, that's why I wasn't able to do a Week 11 recap because I was working last Wednesday. And like I said, it was just an absolute fucking nightmare. And it's not over yet. We still got Christmas to get through. And of course, New Year's. And of course, the Super Bowl. So, it's never fucking ending. Because then after the Super Bowl, yeah, I guess you could throw Valentine's in there, although that's mostly the flower shops' big problem, and candy to, flower shops and fancy-ass restaurants. St. Patrick's Day, that's mostly beer. Easter, well, Easter can be a real bitch sometimes, but not as bad as the holiday stretch we're in right now. Okay, that's enough of me bitching about fucking work. Let's leave work behind and talk about fun. And let's talk about how crazy this week should I say crazy? Is that the right word? I mean, it was crazy. There were a lot of crazy upsets, but definitely a lot of close, interesting games. And that's the thing about, I think you could say, the theme for this NFL season. Nobody's dominant. Everybody has a lot of cons, but you can't say anything's boring. So I'm going to go game by game and just give some quick two thoughts on how I think each one played out and what I foresee for each team in the future. So the first game of the entire week, capping off Thanksgiving Day, was the Bills at the Detroit Lions. A game that a lot of people didn't get to see because CBS and AT&T are having a bit of a contract spat. CBS wants to up their retransmission fee, so in other words, they want to make AT&T pay more money. And of course, AT&T ain't budging and saying, fuck you, CBS. So, if you are Pennsylvanian and you can't get a lot of the Steelers games on the local channel, you now know why. Blame the fucking networks. But for those of us who could see the game, I had to wait for the highlight package, but I was following it on a score app, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? The Lions are doing it again? The Lions have been an absolute pest team this season. Yes, they are the Detroit Lions. They'll find ways to lose games, but don't sleep on them, okay? A lot of teams have been doing that, and the Lions have given them a pretty damn good fight. I mean, holy shit. There have been times Jared Goff has put up better numbers than the starting quarterbacks against better... what's the word? Jared, this is where I need a fucking editor or me to find time to edit my own shit. But anyway, Jared Goff has put up some pretty damn good numbers, almost reminiscent to his Pro Bowl days with the LA Rams. So, Jared Goff, you can say what he is. He's like a Trent Dilfer, but he's not all that bad. He's good enough to help get your team. He's good enough to help get the job done. Okay, maybe I'm just trying to be too nice for Stafford. Point being is, Matt Stafford puts up some good numbers. Half the time, they're almost better than the Pro Bowl quarterbacks we have today. Although, to be fair, the Lions have to keep shooting out because they're always playing good teams. But the Lions have cemented themselves as a good pest team. Whereas you can beat them because you know they'll find a way to beat themselves, but don't sleep on them. As for the Bills, they avoided another scare. I don't know what the hell's going on with Buffalo. They started out so damn dominant this year, and now they're just... But it ties into what I said is the theme for this NFL season, where a good team will play ugly, and you're asking yourself, what the hell's going on? But yet, what's the most important key aspect out of everything? They win the game. Okay, it didn't play out the way you think it should have, or they didn't play quite up to par the way they should have, but they still won the game, and that's the main thing. Josh Allen and the Bills' red zone turnover ratio is up from last year, but they're still winning. I mean, they've yet to win their first division game, and they may get that tonight. I'm going to say tonight, depending on when this video posts. And see, as my videos take fucking forever to upload on YouTube, I will safely say that by the time this one may be watched, it'll definitely be somewhere somewhere within the vicinity of Thursday. So yeah, tonight the Bills should be able to pick up their first win against the New England Patriots. One would think if they fall to 0-3 in their division, the Bills are going to be in the wild card round, and the Miami Dolphins are going to take over the AFC East. Man, Bills and Dolphins, and a little splash of the Jets. Are we like back in the 80s and 90s again? Like, damn, it has been a long while since these three teams have been relevant and the New England Patriots have been kind of bringing up the rear. Been a long freaking time since we've had those days. So, yeah, like, if for anyone who's a diehard Bills fan and anyone else who had stakes on the Bills winning it all this year, don't bail on them yet, okay? Because there are a lot of teams, like I said, that are having just as many issues and that are head scratchers, and you think that this team should be better than that, but they're still winning games. As Herman Edwards is famously quoted for, you play to win the game. And that's what they do. That, forget all the other fucking statistics. What team has the most passing yards? What team dominates time of possession? Like, to me, that's why I'm not much of a stat guy. They just don't fucking matter. Because you'll just be left scratching your fucking head wondering, how is this team doing as well as they are with this many statistics that should go against them? Because in the end, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is they win the football game. Doesn't matter if, how, and when, or how, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that they keep their cool, they play on, and they figure out a way to win. Doesn't have to be pretty. It's football. It's not supposed to be pretty. But unfortunately, media, money, say otherwise. Moving on. Cowboys at the Giants. Yeah, Cowboys at the Giants. Jesus Christ. I need a fucking editor so damn bad. Or I need to rehearse this stuff before I go on the freaking camera. I mean, holy shit. I really got no excuse. I've had all week to do it. Actually, no, I do have an excuse. I work. This is just a hobby, okay? All right, so Cowboys over the Giants, 28-20. Another game that was close for a while, the Giants giving the Cowboys fits. Dak Prescott had a couple of turnovers in this game, but in the end, the Cowboys, they got it together. They ran the tables and looked dominant as they finished. And that's really all that matters, you know? Doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish, and the Cowboys finish strong. They sweep the regular season series against their division rivals, and I think the Giants might be in trouble and could fade out of the playoff race. I mean, they've now lost 3 out of their last 4. They're dealing with some serious injuries to their offensive line, so that's not good. Because, you know, Daniel Jones, he gets in even the tiniest bit of pressure. Guy looks at him scary, and he'll freak the fuck out. Well, the Cowboys' offense is, you know what? I'm not going to say inconsistent. As I've been saying, this is the theme of this year's NFL. Teams will have their ugly marks, but it's how they overcome it. So even though Dak Prescott had a couple of turnovers, the Cowboys still won. And I tell you what, as an Eagles fan, you better fucking believe I'm on high alert with the Dallas Cowboys. Because with CeeDee Lamb and the dual-headed running back threat of Pollard and Elliott, and of course we all know how athletic Dak Prescott is, this is a legitimate team. And that defense is definitely one to keep your eyes open for. They are a threat. They are definitely the sack kings. Micah Parsons had his 6th 2-sack game. He leads the team with 12. CeeDee Lamb had 6 grabs for 106 yards, setting up most of the Cowboys' scores for the night. And of course, one funny note, the Cowboys played whack-a-mole in the Salvation Army pot. When you're winning games, you can have fun. And the Dallas Cowboys are certainly having fun right now. It's their first win in Thanksgiving in quite some time. And boy, you better believe I am going to be on the edge of my seat come Christmas Eve for round 2 between the Birds and the Boys. That'll ultimately decide who wins that division. Am I a little scared? As a fan, yes, I'm allowed to be scared. I'm allowed to be frantic. But for the Eagles, they got nerves of steel, they do. And they're going to need it when they go into Big D on Christmas Eve. All right. And the Thanksgiving primetime game also turned out to be good. Man, is this the first time like all 3 Thanksgiving games have been actually close? Maybe not down to the wire, but interesting enough, you stay tuned all the way through. I think that's the first time ever all 3 games have been close. I'm not, don't quote me on it, but it feels like that. The Vikings, I gotta say, that's an impressive bounce back from Minnesota. After they got pounded on their home turf by Dallas just a few days earlier by a score of 40-3, they come back and they had to come from behind in this one too. They come back and beat the New England Patriots 33-26. Justin Jefferson sets the NFL Justin Jefferson doing what Justin Jefferson does, the human highlight reel of this day and age, sets the new NFL record for most receiving yards through a player's first 3 games with 4,186, eclipsing the mark of 4,163 set by former Vikings and Patriots stud receiver Randy Moss. So a good win for the Minnesota Vikings, and let's be honest, they're going to win the North. Green Bay's pretty much done. Chicago has never really been a threat, and Detroit is just a pest. So there you have it. A good bounce-back win for the Vikings. What does it say for the Patriots? They're a competitor. I mean, they're a good fighting team. Just don't sleep on them. And the Patriots, they definitely have some things to work out as terms of, I'm going to say, a lack of offensive firepower. Defensively, they're okay. They still got Bill Belichick. That's what he does. That's what he's best at. So they can just work out a few key issues. I want to say I think they'll still make the wild card round. Like I said, I still want to see both East divisions get into the playoffs. But we'll see. I'm kind of skeptic. I feel like the Jets will. Especially now that they hand the reins over to, oh my God. I should know that guy's name. as many times as I've heard it this past weekend, and the way he came in and pretty much salvaged the Jets season. And did I really not write that game down? Oh, there it is right there. Mike White. Mike frickin' White. Mike frickin' fucking frubber-upper White. Fluffernutter White. Jesus fucking Christ. I watched Tom Grossi's power rankings here just recently. And yeah, he calls him Mike frickin' fucking flubbernutter White. Like, what the fuck? Oh, Christ. But the Patriots, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So moving on from the Feast of Thanksgiving, now on to the Sunday games. Panthers Broncos. Did anybody have any real interest in this game outside of Carolina Denver fans? I sure didn't. I mean, I'll be honest. I, for whatever ludicrous reason, thought Denver would win this game. But when it comes to the Broncos, they have a good defense. They just need a freaking offense, and they need a new head coach. I am banking on this guy being fired by the end of the season, if not earlier. But the Panthers, you can't say stun the Broncos because it's not like they're that good. But yeah, the Panthers come out on top of this one, 23-10. Almost matched the score from the Super Bowl 50 matchup between these two teams, where Carolina was on the short end of that. The Panthers are on to their third-string QB with Sam Darnold, who, I guess a highlight worth pointing out was his unusual touchdown, where he recovered a botched snap and just basically did a barrel roll, the old put out the fire drill, stop, drop, and rolled, untouched, into the end zone for a touchdown. It's like, man, just when you think you've seen it all, that got a good chuckle for everybody. Both these teams are the absolute worst on third downs. Panthers 2-12, Broncos 4-14 in the game. What else is there to say? Both these teams suck. The Panthers probably did the humane thing, trading away Christian McCaffrey. God damn, terrible names. And Russell Wilson, I don't know if it is the coaching staff that's the problem, but I think he may want to think about joining Rodgers and Brady on the retirement train after this season. Just my opinion. All right. The Commanders prevail over the Falcons, 19-13. Commanders have now won 6 of their past 7 games. And tip of the hat to their head coach, Ron Rivera. I know, us Eagles fans, we need to hate Washington no matter what nickname they are called now. But we can have some respect for Ron Rivera, who picked up his 100th career win, both regular and postseason. Also notably, Washington made a bit of a memorial for the late Sean Taylor, the defensive back who played for the team about 15 years ago. Unfortunately, tragically, was shot and murdered in his own home during a burglary. The team decided to honor him with a memorial on the concourse. There was a glass-enclosed helmet, and rather than actually build a statue of the guy, fucking Dan cheap-ass Snyder just basically placed a mannequin in the glass casing with an old Redskins burgundy jersey, pants, and cleats resembling the ones he wore on the field. Just couldn't fork over the money to build a statue, could you, Dan? Jesus fucking Christ, this guy can't sell that team fast enough to save their lives. Oy. The Dolphins blow out the Texans 30-15. Nothing more to say about that game. Dolphins win their 5th straight, and I tell you what, they feel like a legitimate team. I don't know much about the defense, what for studs they have on there, but of course the offense is highlighted by Tagovailoa, who's got to be in that MVP race, along with my guy Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. He's got 2 studs at receiver. So the Miami Dolphins, I'll have to take a closer look at the rest of that team because, like I said, outside of Tua and his receiving core, I really don't know much more about the team other than they're winning and winning convincingly. And like I said, the Bills better get their shit together, otherwise they're going to lose the division to this team. But the playoffs are a whole nother level. Moving on, we have the Bengals stunning the Titans 20-16. Although, can we really call that a stunner? I mean, it's not like Tennessee's looked absolutely dominant. What is a stunner, though, is the down year that Derrick Henry is having. Even though he's still like in the top, 5 rushing categories, he is over 1,000 yards. But for some reason, it just doesn't feel as loud and splashy as last year. Give credit to the Bengals defense who held him to a season-low 38 yards rushing. That is saying something against one of the best in today's NFL. And also give credit to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow had to lead the way without his 2 stars, Joe Mixon at running back, and his top guy, Jamar Chase. But Higgins had a hell of a day. 7 grabs for 114 yards. So if you had Higgins on your fantasy team for whatever reason, then you came out like a bandit for sure. The Bengals, tight contention with the Ravens for the AFC North. Cincinnati, I think, is starting to get on track at the right time. Tennessee, who the fuck knows with you guys? I feel like we were at the same point with you last year. Even though the Titans had the number 1 overall seed in the AFC last year, who the fuck knows this year? I feel like, though, the Titans will still win the AFC South because look who else is in it. You got the Colts, who suck. The Jaguars, who, even though had a huge win, and we're going to get to that, still suck. And the Texans are, well, the Texans. All right. Here we are. New York Jets blow out the Chicago Bears 31-10. The Jets decide to start Mike White, and he did not disappoint. The 5th player in NFL history to have multiple games with, this is not like his first overall start. The guy has had other games he started in. And with the performance he put on last Sunday, he became the 5th player in NFL history with over 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in his first 4 career starts, joining the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Kurt Warner, and Mark Rippon. Does anyone even remember Mark Rippon? Look him up. Once upon a time, he used to be good. Helped Washington to their last Super Bowl win to this date. The Jets, I think, safe to say, will start with Mike White for the rest of the year. Give them a better chance to now make the playoffs. Win the division? Maybe. I mean, the Jets got one on the Bills, so they are in the lead for it. But I don't see it happening down the stretch. But who knows? This is one of those years where anything's possible. Now the Bears, to their defense, did not have Justin Fields, who was not playing because of a left shoulder injury. Backup Trevor Siemian was also. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the story here is funny. So, Trevor Siemian, who did start anyway despite an oblique injury, was not the Bears' first choice. They were looking to start the 3rd stringer, Nathan Peterman. And I think just the name alone was enough to scare the Bears into saying, you know what, Siemian, suck it up. We need you to play because why the hell Nathan Peterman's even on our team? We have no idea. Why this guy can even find work is a mystery to me. Of course, then again, as a 3rd stringer, you never think he's going to start, but I'm sure old Bills fans know the infamous Nathan Peterman all too well, and the Bears organization knew just well enough that, you know what, we're not that desperate. This season's going nowhere anyway, so we might as well just try and help our draft stock, help our draft status. Jesus Christ. Even with Justin Fields in the mix, I feel like the Bears still would have come up short, and the final score would have just been 31-28. Here's one of the stunners from Sunday. The Browns over the Buccaneers, 23-17 in overtime. What? Yeah, I didn't see that happening. I mean, the Browns rally to stun Brady and the Bucs. Jacoby Brissett possibly will be his last game starting, as Deshaun Watson is now activated from suspension. And in my honest opinion, like, this guy should this guy should not even be playing. You know, with all the despicable shit he's done off the field of women, why the fuck is he even given a chance? At some point, you know, you gotta say enough's enough, you know? Yes, you're a high-end talent, you're an incredible athlete, but that doesn't give you the right to be a fucking asshole to people. You know, one of the downsides to being a celebrity, to feeling entitled, you know, you feel like you can treat people like shit. And if that's how you're going to take it, you know, go fuck yourself. You know, you deserve to burn in hell. But yeah, I feel like the Browns would be better off with, you know, Jacoby Brissett. But at this point, what does it really fucking matter? This team ain't going to make the playoffs. But they are, like the Detroit Lions, a pest team. Whereas you don't sleep on them, but they will give you a fight. And obviously the Bucs did not take them seriously enough. Yeah. One of the off-field highlights was the skunk that got lost in the stadium. I think he was just coming in to check out the game, and you know, like the two teams, I guess I was reminiscent with the skunk coming into the stadium to check out two teams that incredibly stink. Yes, I know the Bucs have Tom Brady and are a much better built team, and looked like they were starting to get on point. And now who the hell knows? I'm willing to say that I think the winner of that division will be under 500. It'll be the fourth time in NFL history we have an under 500 team make the playoffs twice now from the NFC South. Excuse me, need to rehydrate. Tell you what, I gotta do something about the lighting because you can just see all the darkness over here. All right, here we go to probably one of the biggest stunners of the day Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars rallying to stun the Ravens 28-27. And of course, the main highlight was, go figure, head coach Doug Peterson going for the win with a 2-point conversion. Of course he would. It's Doug Peterson. First of all, forget the fact that the Jags have nothing to lose and aren't going anywhere. This is the guy that went for it on fourth down several times in the Super Bowl against the Patriots a few years ago. And still tip my hat for it to this day, Doug Peterson. Thank you. You're forever in the debt of all us Eagles fans for delivering the first ever Super Bowl championship to the city of brotherly love and all us Eagles fans around the world. But yeah, what a freaking wild game this was. It's the Jaguars' first ever win when they are trailing by 7 or more in the final minute. Up to that point, they were 0-183. Insane, right? Now, the Ravens still had a chance because, you know, they arguably have the best kicker in NFL history, which is really a hard thing to say after how many times after watching Adam Vinatieri all our lives. But Tucker had a chance at a 67-yarder to win the game for the Ravens, and he came up like just a foot short. It was insane. He nearly eclipsed the mark he set last year at 66 that propelled the Ravens to a win over another pussycat team, the Detroit Lions. But the Jaguars hang on for the win. It was an absolute crazy-ass wild game, but a good win for them all around. I mean, it kind of hurts their draft status, but still, you know, it was a stunner to the Ravens, and it kind of helps the Bengals out a little bit. I don't know if we'll see two. Well, you know what? We probably will, because the AFC West, well, I don't know. There's still the Chargers. I'm trying to think, like, if we could see any other team other than the AFC East make the playoffs. I feel like the Bengals or Ravens have a chance, but I don't know. I still kind of want to see an all East playoff field. We might get that on the NFC side, but the AFC side, who the hell knows? Another game that was an absolute thriller. The Chargers upping the Cardinals. And the Chargers apparently took a page out of the Jags' books and decided, you know what? Let's do that. We got nothing else to lose. Well, the Chargers are actually, they do have a chance to make the playoffs, so they're trying to stay relevant. So they too go for two. And they end up stunning the Cardinals 25-24. A good back and forth game all around, but other than the 2-point try to win the game, really nothing outstanding in that game to really talk about. Unlike this next one here, the Las Vegas Raiders go into Seattle and stun the Seahawks 40-34 in overtime. Now I will admit, I was rooting for the Seahawks to win because, come on, outside of Raiders fans, who in their right mind wants to see Josh McDaniels succeed? Nobody. Nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes that guy or takes him seriously or gives him any account of respect. You know, outside of the Patriots organization. Of course, then again, it kind of fucks up the Raiders' draft status. But overall, a good fucking game. Josh Jacobs. If you had him on your fantasy team, I've said this before and I'll say it again, you made out like a real fucking bandit. He scored the 86-yard touchdown run in overtime that propelled the Raiders to the win. On the day, he finished with a total of 303 yards from scrimmage, 229 of it on the ground, and 74 through the air. His 303 yards from scrimmage is the most in Raiders franchise history. That's quite a feat, considering the legends of running backs they've had back in their heydays. It is the seventh most in NFL history. He has the now seventh most total scrimmage yardage for a running back in the NFL game during the Super Bowl era. So, good win for the Raiders. Again, hurts their draft status and hurts the Seahawks on account of their rivals, the 49ers, shut out the New Orleans Saints 13-0. So with the Niners win and the Seahawks loss, San Francisco now holds the NFC West. And Washington now bumps up into the last wild card spot. So I'm still hoping that's how the NFL playoff picture will play out. But unfortunately, I have my doubts about the Giants now. As the Commanders are getting hot, the Giants are getting cold. But anyway, this is about the 49ers. This is the first time the Saints have been shut out in a game since 2001. Ironically enough, to the then 49ers. Sorry, I was off in a trail of thought here. So the Niners pick up their first shutout since 2019, the last time they went to the Super Bowl. And I got to tell you, the Niners have really come a ways here after the way they started out. But I'm really glad that Jimmy Garoppolo got his starting job back and has definitely made the most of it. So come this offseason, I hope some other team will try to pick him up and give the Niners a fair deal for it, just so they can start that other bum they got, and Jimmy could probably go somewhere and maybe win a Super Bowl and wear it on this finger to show to San Francisco, there's your 6th ring right there for not believing in me, fuckers. But, yeah. Another notable highlight. This is the 4th straight game now the 49ers defense has not given up a point in the second half. 4 straight game, this 49ers defense has shut teams out in the second half. Yike. So everybody talks about the Dallas defense. I think it's time to wake up and let's recognize the San Francisco defense led by Bosa. Yeesh. I mean, I'm trying to stay confident as an Eagles fan because, again, their offense is very inconsistent, and it's Kyle Shanahan. They'll find ways to fuck up down the stretch, just like the Cowboys. As long as they're under Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, they'll find ways to fuck up when it really matters. A game that a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year was probably must-watch TV, unfortunately did not pan out that way. The Chiefs dominate the defending world champion Rams 26-10 in an absolute ugly fucking game. But to be fair, the Rams are like, holy shit, half the team they were last year. As Stafford is still out with, was that concussion protocol? Yep, concussion protocol. I was right. Bryce Perkins making his first ever career start, and it was yuck. I know the Rams are missing their top receivers, some offensive linemen. Don't know who's running the ball for them, if they're any good. I mean, the Rams are just falling apart at the seams. This is their... this is funny. As the Chiefs have now won 5 straight, the Rams have now lost 5 straight. And, let's see. Okay. And the Rams have now matched the 87 Giants for the worst record through the first 11 games in a season as defending Super Bowl champs. To be fair, though, both teams were kind of dinged up. And the 87 Giants had to deal with the strike season. So for 3 weeks, none of their starters were playing anyway. And their scabs sucked. Let's see. Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. 6 straight game with 300 yards passing. 16 straight game with a touchdown pass. So clearly the Chiefs are back to being the team to beat in the AFC again. And as long as they have Magic 15 Mahomes, it's going to be that way for quite some time. All right, on to the game of the week. Sunday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles, I can say, hang on to beat the Green Bay Packers 40-33. And I'm ashamed to admit I acted like a real asshole during this whole game with the shit I posted on my Facebook page and social media. I took a lot of it down because I was embarrassed by it. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why did I take this game so fucking seriously? I mean, Jesus God. I mean, I was losing my shit every time the Packers kept marching down the field. I'm like, what is wrong with this Eagles defense? Did they leave themselves in Indianapolis? I tell you what, the one thing that is very concerning when it comes to my Eagles is their run defense. They need to tighten that shit up quick. Because here comes Derrick Henry into town. And even though the Eagles should take a page from the Bengals and learn how to slow this guy down, I'm still nervous about that. The way I look at it, I mean, aside from the Titans' defense, which I don't know much about, nobody talks about them that very much, I'm still concerned with Henry, but hopefully the Eagles get the Henry from Cincinnati. And yeah, sure as fuck, don't lose to Ryan Tannehill, please, Philadelphia. But the star of this game is, goes without saying, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, Jalen Hurts. Woo! I mean, that kid just could not be stopped. I mean, there were times I just kept screaming, forget passing, just let Hurts run it. They can't stop him. I mean, unfucking real. Hurts ran for a franchise record 157 yards, and the Eagles totaled 363 total yards rushing, and shockingly, that's only the second best in team history. The absolute best was a 376-yard performance against Washington back in November of 1948. Wow. But yeah, again, the Eagles summarize what I've been saying throughout the whole video about this is an ugly year where a lot of good teams are playing ugly and you can't figure out why, but yet they're still winning ball games. And that's what I take away from this. The Eagles still found a way to win. It wasn't pretty, and unfortunately, they have lost Gardner Johnson for quite some time, but they're saying he should be back. The injury had something to do with his kidney. And I would have thought, with that being said, he'd be done for the year, but they're optimistic he can come back. When? We're not freaking sure. But still, this was a wild one. Where the other week they had all defense in Indianapolis, and Jalen Hurts then pulled the rabbit out of the hat. This one was all about the offense with Hurts and company holding on for dear life because even after Rodgers left the game with some sore ribs, in comes Jordan Love, the guy that was drafted ahead of Hurts, and son of a bitch, smug-looking bastard could not be frazzled by the Eagles' defense as he put up 10 more points for the Packers to keep them in the game, but thankfully, the Packers' run defense was even worse. And Hurts and Sanders combined exposed that group bad, ran all over them, couldn't be stopped. The Eagles were able to run out the clock and secure win number 10 on the season. Woo! 10-1, baby. 5th time in franchise history the Eagles have started out this good. The last time they did it, they won it all, baby. Not so sure this team's got what it takes to do it, but as I said, this is a year where we cannot be sold on anything, and it's like whoever finds a way to win, hey, that makes them the good team, and the Eagles are definitely a good fucking solid team all around. You know, if we get the guys back from injuries and they tighten some shit up, yeah, I mean, I feel confident about this team's chances. Do they have competition coming down the road? Oh, absolutely. But as for right now, we will enjoy it. And, you know, as I said earlier in this video, I do think Rodgers should think about calling it quits. Him, Brady, and there was another guy I threw in there, but mainly those two. I think should probably think about hanging up the cleats after this season. For their sake, just saying. And, well, the Monday Nighter, which somehow I managed to stay up for it. It was a bit of a snoozer, but it got interesting there toward the end. The Pittsburgh Steelers over the Indianapolis Colts, 24-17. Pickett is still growing before our eyes. This was his first game without giving the ball up to the other team, so kudos to him. And really not much else to talk about. You know, Steelers jumped out to an early lead. Colts came back, made it interesting, but, well, then they remembered that they were the sucky-ass Colts, and even though the Steelers aren't that much better, and, well, I guess overall this kind of hurts their draft status, so, like, even when you win, you don't win, but still, take it for what it is. These are games that you want to see Pickett or Pickens, because there's a Pickett. So Pickens to Pickett, oh, God. One of those guys with a P for a last name continues to improve and show that he is the quarterback for the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only other notable notes for this game is that it's the 8th straight win over. It is the 8th straight win for the Steelers over the Colts. I mean, wow. Like, I had no idea the Colts were this bad against the Steelers, but I guess it's payoff for how lousy the Steelers always play against the Jaguars. Last time the Colts beat Pittsburgh was 2008 with Peyton Manning. And even then, the Steelers still went on to win the Super Bowl. In fact, that was the last year the Steelers ever won the Super Bowl. Man, 2008 does not feel that long ago. And the other notable note here is that with the win, the Steelers have tied the 49ers for the most Monday Night Football wins at 52. Just figure that'd be some notable dinner conversation or, you know, when you're talking to someone across the other stall. But, all right, well, there's the Week 12 recap from my perspective. As I said, the theme is it's okay to play ugly. It's okay for your team to drive you fucking crazy. It's okay if you can't figure out why some teams are playing the way they are when you think they should be playing a hell of a lot better, but they're still finding ways to win. So just like life, there are pros and there are cons. And your team proves that they are a good fucking team when they don't lose their shit, start to panic, and figure out a new plan as to how to get around this con to get to victory. So overall, that's what really matters the most. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. If anybody watches this video and takes the time to watch it all the way through, I thank you kindly out of the bottom of my heart. Give me a like if you would. I would very well appreciate it. Subscribe even. That'd be even greater. If you got any tidbits for me, I'm always open for constructive criticism. Okay. Well, y'all have a good night. And, what the hell? I'm going to quote Markiplier here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.